Yeah, he's an interesting chap.
Yeah, he really is. He's funny.
There we go. Put it just there and get rid of it. Yeah, I have to admit, out of the whole summer, I like this one.
Right. That's funny to me.
Yeah, I know you called it Regal or something. This one was kind of fun. And so this is the light of late summer.
Right, yeah.
It's like hot, really. It's like 85 degrees, and it's got that bleached light.
Yeah.
It's like everything has to have white in it. It's a rule.
Yeah, I love that. I love that I love that feeling of ice cream melting.
Yeah.
All the way through.
I mean, it's just
back.
And I actually feel okay with that one. I mean, I really
like
like
it.
I like
you can see the pace. I mean, usually you look like you're moving quickly. I mean, you on over small spaces, but that one looks like you're sort of meandering,
moving
sludgily
over small spaces. Ah, that's just so. There's an Andrew Forrest thing, isn't it? Wow.
But
I actually kind of enjoyed doing it because I didn't think I would. But I realised this spring and summer has mainly focused on these trees.
Mm-hmm.
Here they are. Here they are. Here it is from a whole completely different angle. Of course, here they are.
Mm-hmm.
And here it fucking is again. This is that. Usually I'm painting from up there, looking this way, and then I'm painting looking back at that way.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I mean, it's like this whole idea of really knowing and mapping out space more than probably anyone else has done in their heads. Like I really know the part.
I mean, that is your sort of Japanese master kind of painting. That one, it's like you sort of making the moves, and understanding it and sort of knowing it, and yet being able to put yourself outside of knowing it.
Yeah.
All at the same time. It's funny though, like all the paintings are very different. I mean, they really are.
And yet, to me, they're pretty similar. Well, I think this was this time last year. This is exactly what that tree looks like now. It's weird. I go by and I look at it and go, "This is that time." But this and this one seem to have a similarity in heavy paint or heavy shape or welded or. I mean, you cannot. It's not object orientated in terms of this tree is that. It's just I love that. I really fucking love that.
Yeah.
I
think that painting would be. I mean, it would be great even if there's no foreground at all. You just chop the whole thing off and it's just like that wall of stuff.
Maybe you're right. Maybe even from here. Yeah.
Just a.
I don't know. Foregrounds are hard, but I mean, that seems like an amateur thing to say. Well, foregrounds are hard. It's like, what is this landscape of the year again? Lord, foregrounds. Oh, wow, you did a good job.
Well, yeah, right. It's like. If you paint into the mid or far distance, the relationship of the mark to what you're seeing is.
There we go.
It makes you have to invent something, but if the size of the mark.
That's so well.
The size of the mark for what you're looking at is the same. It's like, well, fuck, am I just going to copy that then? Like, what do I make more? Anyway, it's that's why.
And it's also that.
I mean, it's like clearly where you come alive is like. When things start to collapse a little bit, and you have to like tease them out from each other, and it's like you have this thing to figure out, like that's clearly
That's brilliant.
The bit where you're.
No, I think you're absolutely right. That's incredibly articulate.
Slip between those layers.
That's very articulate. That's really. I mean, you're dead right.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, but it's kind of like this. It's such a beautiful area.
Yeah.
But it's always so ridiculous. I mean, when you're painting it, it's just ridiculous. But it isn't. I mean, it's drawing.
Yeah.
It's like this is more like one of my drawings.
Oh yeah.
So therefore, this I've been doing since the age of 22.
Right. Yeah.
And for some reason, because of the space and the love of that tree, suddenly it became one of those paintings again.
Oh yeah.
And then suddenly this became the problem, you know. But actually, the truth is, one night I was fairly stoned, and I was not night, evening, and I was looking for a motif because I hadn't. I was stoned, and I just thought, I love the way the hill goes up.
No, that's exactly
and the trees are on the top.
That's what the first impression is.
Yeah,
So
and that's what caught my eye as
you
like
totally
unusual.
you totally get the impression looking up.
Yeah, it's unusual, you know. I thought.
Yeah.
And
no,
yet,
I mean you absolutely it's.
And I knew the foreground would be a big problem. I knew it as soon as I started.
I know immediately what that kind of space was, and I was
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that foreground at the bottom is it's fun in its colour and tonality, but it doesn't tell you what that plane is doing, which is this. It's you know, the plane is horizontal, the grass, and it doesn't come across completely.
That's kind of it's funny. It's
you know what I mean?
Really, it just I
mean
I
spatially, it's a problem still.
You know, in all your work, I understand the illusion immediately. You know, and I don't. It's like it's the very first thing is what you are wanting us to see. You know, and then like a heartbeat behind that is like how it's made. I mean, obviously, like I'm aware of like reading something and seeing something at the same time, which is like that. You know, that's the bit that makes it exciting. And then it's funny.
Like John Berger. No, I mean, in the best way, you know.
Right? Yeah. No, you're aware of like the form it takes to arrive, but what its message is there at the same time, you know, which is like
on a completely pedestrian level, I suppose. If this was in my show, it would probably sell because it's kind of bright and cheery.
Well, yeah, maybe.
And depictive to the
no, it's very romantic. It's very romantic,
right? Yes. Oh my god. Well, because of the yes, of course. Well, it's of course here's the artist. When I'm looking at this, Patrick George will cross my mind a lot. You know, of this idea of how he would even make a measure mark, how he would double line it. You know,
well, it's very flourishy. I mean, it's like
and yet the trees are beautiful. I mean.
You put that yellow into that purple in the sky. It's
the tree is what it is. You know, it's like it's a celebration of actually a dying tree. It is dying. It's an ash, but it still pops up this brilliant spring and the declining autumn colours.
So that's that. Yeah, it's like
it's not a British oak, is it? It's like it could be, but it's kind of falling apart. That tree, you know.
I mean, so many of your marks are about carving. Like you're such a sort of like you make incisions.
Yeah, they're carving. I like the idea of that. You're carving a space.
Right. But that and then that tree is more like you're modelling. It's like you're like blobs outward. You know, like
modelling. Almost. Oh, I see. Very good.
As
very
opposed
good.
to carving.
Very good. Yeah.
That's what that yellow against that purple is like. Is that you sort of adding blobs on to pull out, totally different from that bit to the left, where it's like it's still carving. You know, that sort of convex kind of concave thing.
And I suppose it's also the idea of a different way of painting, but the same way of looking. So here's that to that. Are both different ways of painting, but they're both about looking.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, the beautiful thing about that is that
this is not marked out the same way, but it is. But it isn't going further and further into it.
Well, I mean, the beautiful thing, I mean, like, you can just sort of almost like you can like lop off that area.
Sit, Vera. Go on, sorry.
I mean, you can lop off that area to the left, and then you can cut off the.
No, stay.
You can cut off the foreground, the green bit of the foreground. Anyway, like leave that bit above.
Yeah, that green was sort of becoming.
Like that bit there
luscious.
is really beautiful.
Luscious.
It totally looks like you're you're trying to sort of screw into it over there,
Where-
and
where-
pull
on
out
the
of it
right,
over there.
on that right
Yeah, screw into it over there,
Yeah.
and pull out over there. Like,
that's
it's
nice.
like that.
Lovely way of putting it. Yeah, it is.
And it's funny when you cut off the bit, the lower foreground bit. You know, when you cut that off and you see.
This actually, as a painting, works.
Yeah.
I mean, everything. To me, I realise now that works. But then what doesn't work? So you always get down to that. It's like, well, what is the problem?
Well, it's that bit there.
Really?
I mean, it is.
I mean, yeah, I thought I hit it there.
No, it's like you. It's funny. Like it's all right. So this is the.
Yeah.
I mean this with all respect.
Come here, you fucker. No, all right, hit me with it, but just. Vera, you've been nasty. Come here and sit. Sit. Stay. Okay, Tim. Come on. It's like fucking foggy. I mean, this dog. Manuel! Yeah. Sorry. So, but I like that bit.
Yeah, I mean, I do
I
too.
find like it spatially actually kind of works. But you don't.
Well, no, it's just.
Is it coming forward again? So
it looks like you know when a student.
Oh no.
You tell them to make it lighter, so they add white to the color to make it lighter, and then it's like no, now it's pale. There's no it's light, but there's no warmth. You've just eliminated.
Yeah.
All you've done is eliminated value. You haven't like made it lighter. You know, so
have you eliminated really?
It looks the paint, where light hits in this painting is so warm, and that is like one of the. It feels like one of the coolest areas of the painting. It's so optically.
Why would it be warm?
Well, it feels like sunlight is hitting it because it's light. It's a light value, right? Like,
but if it's got the same colours as the sky. Would it? I mean, so I'm using the same type of blue in that.
Well, it's context, right? It's like. It's just I don't know.
What the fuck is that? I'm sorry, I just. No, carry on, please. I thought it was something on the paper.
I'm not trying to tell you your painting is wrong. I'm
No,
just telling you, like,
now,
optically, the way it sort of pops out and almost feels like. It almost feels.
I tried to do it.
It almost feels weirdly like you were making something up. You know, like.
Well, I think to a degree I was. Yeah.
And every other mark looks like you're reacting to this really sort of specific thing.
Yeah, well, you know, the truth is in the top part, I am reacting to a specific thing, but in the bottom part, I'm not, because there is no specific thing. Other than that shadow hits around 4 o'clock, which I thought I could either have or not. And I decided to because I thought it would be a tonal balance to that tree on the left. Because without it, we really were looking at 2 different paintings. But then maybe I should have. But maybe that would be the fun of it, you know. And you can go on and on.
Man, I don't know. It's like it's so weird. It's like it's funny. I just don't know how to define it. It's like it feels like you never have that much continuous color. You never like just sort of like blend them together, and that's like the only passage of painting I see where you don't break a color. And when you break a color, you always
have a line.
Well, you always do it like fairly forcefully. It's like,
it's always
all right, now it's a different color, you know.
Because it's always a shape. You know? It's always about this to that.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, these two turn. I don't know, but it's always. So how does that shape work?
No, yeah, you're always drawing. You're always drawing.
I'm always drawing. To me, I don't know.
And so that's maybe that's it, right? It feels like that's the least sort of drawn area.
Well, it is, and that's why.
So you haven't found the shape that you want to attach the paint to yet.
Yeah, and yet it's too late because then it's piecemeal.
I love it, to be honest. I actually think like, oh, that's.
Which is why it will sell. Not because of your taste is limited by any means, but it's got light in it, and it's happy, and it's autumn, and it's just, you know what I mean? It's, on that level, and, you know, and it's got the nice fuzzy paint that people would like, and on that level, the intellectual might say, yeah, she's got some warm and cool going, and on a completely another level, sorry, I'm just...
Do you ever think, like, oh, what if I just fucking did that, you know, like... I guess those
which
paintings,
is why...
Those paintings feel like that, you know, you're like going, alright, just fucking do
Well, it's like a.
I mean, you're like, wow, fucking hell. Well, I mean, I obviously really love the complexity and all of them. They're so satisfying to look at. It's like,
So what?
satisfying to look at. I mean,
Good,
you can
well, that's something, isn't it?
you can spend a good deal of time in.
They're painters' paintings.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, they're not, and that's why people don't say anything.
They speak the language, yeah.
Yeah, they do. I know they do, and if they didn't, that would be really sad. If like suddenly you were, you know. I mean, I know. I think it's good, but yes, I know. I know there's been problems with that. I kind of feel this work because of when I put something on Facebook, they're like fucking the likes and shares for that one were phenomenal, and I go, really? I didn't think much of it. And Maggie goes, wow, it's amazing. And I go, no, I didn't think much of it. Yeah, I felt like I was a bit sleek and pulled off a painting that people wanted to see almost. Almost.
Well, it does look like a crowd pleaser in a way.
You know, it's very, because it's that park. It's a park. It's not.
Well, no,
you know,
it's
not,
very.
It's cultivated to a degree, and
that was really beautifully composed. It's like a very nicely written piece of music. It has this.
I did about
feeling of arrived complete. You know, it's like that's the complete statement. And
I did about.
It's exactly the right size too.
Yeah, it's a good size, isn't it?
It is the right size.
Yeah, I'm constantly trying to do that, and yet it doesn't always happen. But
I mean, I often feel like, oh fuck, you know, like what if there was a giant one of that fucking thing? But that one is like,
yeah,
that one nails it. What's the size you'd see it? You know, it's like
30-30.
It's like that's what you see.
And I think that's what I've been trying to cope with at the moment is one's natural scale to the size of the surface you work on, instead of being told when you buy a canvas like, yeah, okay, I got this, I have to somehow make this work. Or why? You know, why not just decide that at the end? Sorry, I couldn't quite. But you know what I mean. I mean, that's why I'm doing that piece on the prime canvas down in the kitchen, because it's at the beginning of it there was no size dictated to me or shape.
Right.
So if the painting starts to want to go very horizontal, oh, good. And if not, not. But with something like this, I have to diminish scales and play with scales in order to make things fit. And when you do that, you're not painting to the natural hand eye, how you see things. And this is what I've been working on for ages, is the idea, like this was good because this is how I see that. I mean, if I was to paint that tree, this is my movement to, that's my, but when this tree has to be this size, it's a different type of painting completely, because then it's like 2 strokes to a stroke, and you've got a whole different thing going. But if you wanted that tree, that size, then you have a natural scale. Oh, that was too much for me.
Well, no, it's yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's like.
But it seems like you kind of like being boxed in. I mean, you kind of like.
This is not my natural scale.
No.
It's too small and constricting for me. And yet, I kind of wanted these trees, so I realised I had to have a certain measurement going, comparative measurement I had to have, you know. And I'm getting fed up. I don't do that. All these paintings don't have that. This one, maybe that one. Well, to a degree, they all have a comparative measure. Of course they do. Sorry.
So this one's done, right?
I don't know. It's been worked on a lot over 3 weeks, and it's pretty sad. I mean, today's, I feel a lot better about it than it was. I mean, if a daughter of 20 can say the foreground doesn't work, yeah, fucking doesn't work. But the truth is,
I don't want, like. Try to make one suggestion for like.
Yeah.
It's like no, but it's like
please.
Why would I make a suggestion to you about your like a fucking painting? That's just.
Well, it shows you how bad they are.
No.
And
No,
the suggestion is...
I mean, there's two brown strokes that describe the trunk on the, in that tree. Those, the lighter brown.
The tree on the right.
These marks here and here.
Oh, it wasn't actually. They were just dead leaves.
Oh, really?
It wasn't.
Oh, it looks like you're describing the trunk of the tree.
No, not at all.
Oh, I was going to say, it makes it
pop
out in a
probably
weird
got
way.
one. They're actually branches that are dead and coming out.
Oh, yeah, all right.
The actual trunk is going up.
Yeah, I was going to say, it just looks like you're...
The trunk is dead in with this, but actually it wasn't in reality. But I wanted to make a right angle. I wanted to do some... I mean, this isn't even right angle. It's slightly leaning with that. So I was thinking of geometry right from the beginning. And that's only good to a point, and then you've got to trench tracks. Otherwise, you're locked into this geometry shit.
Well, it's just that those marks look like what you were talking about is light striking the tree trunk. That's how I read it. So it was like it seemed to
okay, and then
it seemed to contradict other things, and it was like
it wasn't right. It wasn't.
My eye kept getting dragged there. Like
maybe they shouldn't be there.
I feel like if that gloomy bit, if that trunk, that's
verticals to break this horizontal stuff. I mean, and then I was thinking intellectually.
My read on it is not like a thing hanging in front of
that
dark space that I think is important because you go back into it, but
okay, that's good.
But those little brown marks, they look like they're supposed to be.
So that's the high school kind of thing.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, that's mean. But it's like I never noticed that. It's so weird. I never noticed.
Well, you're
reading
it for what it is. I mean,
I went beyond it, and yet I should have looked at it because it's. Well, the truth is, it's depictive. And yet it depicts something that it isn't, and then it gets.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Fuck it.
Yeah.
So there you are. I hope you enjoyed the show, and this one was a nightmare. How can you go back to a place 5 times with a tiny square? That's sad. It's like I kept coming back to this one. Right, I've got to go back. God damn it!
Yeah, it looks like a fight.
Yeah, it was a fight, but I like the fight.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something that I suddenly see at work. I love this with that because it's almost like it's kind of an aardvark thing, but yet that is in a different space to that.
Yeah.
And yet they're obviously the same mark done at the same time with the brush, but that's further away.
Yeah.
And I go, that's what I want. That's all I want. That's all I want. There's nothing else I really want. That's what aardvark does. That's what I think is painting.
Right.
This is, but perhaps they're overworked to try and find that or feel that or get that and there's many ways of getting that, of course. Obviously, that is this, it's like
yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, I don't know, sorry.
Oh yeah.
I love talking about painting and I don't talk to anyone now about it.
No.
That's really sad.
Well, not in any sort of real way,
No,
not in any way that's like...
You are probably the only one at this point. I don't think... I have friends who would, but I don't see them because they're abroad. But...
there's one bloke who lives not far from me in Minneapolis called George. He's like... I don't know. He's older than you. But he's...
George?
His name's George. Yeah, George Farrer. And he shows with Flanders in...
With who? Flanders.
Flanders, yeah.
Is that a good gallery? No. I always thought it was a bit kind of badly run.
Yeah, it looks so hacky.
It's kind of like Chris.
It's been going for ages. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's like, but I don't understand. Anyway, George is nice, and he's a poet, and he writes, and he's abstract painter, and his paintings can be pretty good at times. And he's just a. He's a smart bloke. He's fun. He's fun. I could sort of get into it a bit with him, but yeah. I don't know. You're about the only person whose studio I actually get to sit in. And look at working because I fuck I like talking about painting with John. He just doesn't make any fucking paintings, so there's nothing to talk about.
Well, I keep thinking he's young, but
Man.
perhaps he's not. But
You know, he's on sabbatical now for a year.
well, of course he is, and he's what, 45 or something, 50, and
Oh, he's my age.
I mean,
And
he's getting up there then. I mean, not that you're old, but
no, you know.
But I always saw John as like the amiable bachelor of 40. You know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's basically
Is he?
who he
Does
still
he
is.
have a partner or?
He's got a girlfriend. I mean, he seems to be like denying it, being anything significant at all. But they've been together for a while. It's funny. It's just, yeah, he's fucking got. His wife has no resistance to it whatsoever.
Wow.
I mean, just living in his fucking apartment. And he's, you know, he's on sabbatical for a year, and he's just gone, he's going fishing for like, that's what he's going to do for like,
Well,
he's going to fish for almost his entire sabbatical, and he might make some work at the end, maybe.
Yeah, his, what's the word? My God, I just saw something in that thing. Not lazy, but just content to not push it too heavily in one direction. It's like,
well, he waits to like, he doesn't.
The itch is not that acute.
No, he has no itch.
No, and maybe I kind of envy people like that a little bit. But.
Yeah, I mean, because he's, you know, when he gets to it, I mean, he got way too reliant on this one artist.
Yeah.
And it's still like, he's still got to fucking work that out. I don't know what's going on there, but
oh yeah, the one that the plague.
Yeah. Still like, he still rips off this.
But that's so. It is bizarre. I don't know. That's a whole other topic, isn't it? I do like that one actually.
Yeah.
I'm starting to realise why, and it's to do with everything you just said, though. Like everything's in its place, and if it wasn't, it wouldn't work spatially, and that's the whole thing.
Oh yeah, that's all leading it back.
I never saw this, but I just saw it talking to you. Is that you know, that is at a right angle to that, and I never saw that. So therefore, this is in a different space to that. And I go, oh my God, that's brilliant, because I love that. That's that kind of geometry that was actually accidental or just intuitive, but it wasn't contrived.
Right.
And when it gets contrived, then you've got problems.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Sorry,
I guess so.
That's kind of another long-winded statement.
Yeah, no, I know.
But here's the thing. So here's like the 20-minute or 50-minute painting.
I
love it.
I do too.
It's like that's my drawing.
Yeah.
So why not just paint like that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, because it's not accurate to the moment. I mean, yeah, it's like a gestural painting, and you're scrambling for colours and stuff, and it's not accurate, or it's, I don't know. But when you bring it back, and I completely forgot what I was looking at, it's such a really nice piece.
It is, yeah.
It's like, fuck, that's the best painting I've done in a while. Oh, damn. You know what I mean?
No, you can't help but wonder about that on a bigger scale.
God, it blow my mind. I mean, it would be everything I'm trying to do. Well,
I mean that's I mean that feels like one of those sorts of things Wykes going for in a way. The feeling of like it happening instantly.
It's an art back sort of early to mid-career piece or something. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe it's more a late piece where he's scraped everything off and it's just white. But
well, it's a bit like you know, it's like this late de Kooning feel where like they make those vast things and like all the marks are packed in and it's just doing shit all the time.
You see, that's the thing. Suddenly it becomes a formal conversation much easier than all the other paintings because it's formal. No? I mean, it's like you just said, things are packed or squeezed or pushed apart, or the beauty of this is the same colour as that, but this is right up front and that's back.
Right.
And yet it's done with the same brush, probably within 2 or 3 seconds of each other.
Well,
and I mean, that is, you know, I mean, that's a beautiful piece. You know, I could look at that for hours.
Yeah.
Like I do my drawings. With this stuff, it becomes like, I don't know, you know,
Well,
this is a savvy piece.
Well, I mean,
that's what I want to do.
That makes you read.
Yeah.
You're forced to.
It's a drawing.
Read it, and yeah, I mean, that's the power of these, right? They're so immediate about what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way that's really complicated, but it's like it's.
You know, next time you come down, you need to bring a couple of pieces of yours, and then we can talk about your work as well. I always feel like I'm capitalising on your experience and kindness.
I don't think I'm not really making anything that would be like fun to talk about.
Okay.
I think it's. I mean,
There's nothing. To me, this is the most satisfying thing in the world. It's like to have somebody look at a painting you've been working on only a few hours ago outside. Yeah. That's great. It's like, you know, that's you know, I guess that's how I always thought it was about.
Right. Yeah. Well. Yeah. The joy of.
It's like
the joy of looking. I mean, the joy of like reading.
Yeah.
I fucking love looking at paintings.
It's like Cézanne and Pissarro or something like.
Right.
You know, they were both painted at the same time, and they'd probably go over to each other's place, and paint would still be wet. You go, what are you doing? And they'd be eating a stale French bread and great cheap pork.
It's so funny. I keep looking at it. It's like, why is it so weird? You know, what is such a weird thing about this painting? It's so weird, and it's like, it's like that tree's a silhouette and it's casting a shadow that way. And that tree's lit up and it's casting a shadow that way. And it's like, but it's, I mean, I know that purpley area isn't a shadow from that tree, but
very clever.
It looks like it would be. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and then you read all that light behind, and it looks like the light is coming from behind, and that's why the shadows are being thrown towards me.
And then you step back.
And then I have this bright yellow.
Yeah.
Doing it like reversing.
I know it is. I know.
I mean, but it's not that it breaks down. It's not that it doesn't make sense. It just you just realise like,
but they are different.
It's
moments.
making me do all these different things.
They're different moments from different days. So
and
yet you kind of think, I don't want to wipe out the other day because it's just as justified as today.
Yeah.
I mean, in visual terms or in any term. Yeah, it's a strange mix.
So I actually think I think it's one of the exciting things about the painting. Like all the other paintings are so unified, and that's the least unified painting.
Yeah.
It's the most fragmentary. Like it's like, I could imagine you working on it for another day. You know, tying it together. Maybe but I don't think I think you I don't know.
Well, it was that shadow.
I think you should fucking.
It was that shadow in the foreground. There was about 20 underneath it, and in the end, that shadow took 10 seconds.
It's all like fucking triangles all over.
Yeah, you got the A shape. You got the A, haven't we?
Yeah.
Over
and over again.
Yes, I just suddenly realised that as well.
Good grief! Wow.
I mean,
it doesn't stop giving you triangles.
It's incredibly. No, I mean, just looking at that, I never saw that, and now I'm seeing that, and I didn't realise that was the A thing.
Yeah.
And now I see that, and then I realised, well, everything is the A.
Yeah.
Fuck, you know, it's a Gestalt kind of thing.
It does that, and then that, and then that, and then that.
Yeah. It's the beginner's guide to painting or something.
The triangle is a useful composition
That's
of
the triangle in other artist work. Take here the Andrew Wykes romantic scene.
I make my drawing one students draw that Uccello St. George and the Dragons in the National Gallery in London, which is really. I think it's a fun painting to draw. It's like it's all triangles over and over and over and over again.
Do you know the funny thing is that maybe it's to do with and you're right. Maybe it's one hooks into a certain mode of compiling a painting that they feel comfortable with, like structure, because they're intimidated by maybe tonality or colour. So in my case, I think I've never felt myself as colorist, so I always went for drawing.
Yeah, well, you're a drawer, yeah. There's no doubt about that, yeah.
But I find that.
I mean,
I'm not sure if I like the idea of that.
That's your most
But that's drawing as well.
Well, it is.
If you took a black and white photo, you could still enjoy it. Maybe that's tonality, but I think it's just to do with simple, structural, proportional drawing. Accidental or not, because we love the accidental, but we make the accidental an image, a gestalt again.
You're totally a colorist. I mean, whatever. I mean, it's just. I mean, you just.
People have told me that, and I believe them, but I never set out.
Well, I mean,
to be a colorist, but I just thought that was like a diminishing title.
That's a stupid name.
It's like a sketching artist or somebody who does
it's like
a caustic or casting.
If you use color, don't you think about color?
Exactly.
Well, what do you do with color then?
if
I'm a colorist, what are you doing?
But that's a mistake of my students. Is all they do is think about color. So their tonality is fucked. Their drawing is fucked because they're just going, I'm trying to get the color. And you're going, well, you got it wrong. It's too light. And if you really looked at that red, it's much darker. How do you know that? Because if you compare it to what's next to it, I mean, it's just like, it's interesting.
Well, that's the big leap, right? It's like if I would imagine, if one were a colorist in pursuit of color as a sort of
like Patrick Heron or Matisse. Well, that's a whole school, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but you'd lose your faith in like tone as the effect of color and try and like find color to do it instead of value, or to like almost like.
But then isn't color to do with proportion and composition? I mean, it's just like no color exists on its own. The fact that this is a brighter orange to that is simply because it's surrounded by dark. I mean, it's just like that's a drawing thing, isn't it? Or the size of that compared to the size of this is a drawing thing.
Right.
And that's why I like even Matisse, his snail. Those fucking shapes, they're drawn and considered, or are they considered by just the approximation of colour? And I hope so, because that'd be lovely. Like, you realise when orange is so powerful, it cannot be as big as that green, which was bigger. So you cut something smaller. If that's what he was doing, I'd be very impressed.
Oh, fuck yeah, that's what he was doing.
I hope so. Sometimes I doubt it.
You read the man's sort of, like, the way he talks about painting. It's like, he really talks about painting. I mean, it's like, he
Well, what's that called? Not extension of colour. It's called something like the Edison book. I know the theory, and I hope that it's colour that propels one to change composition. Like in favour of colour, that's why my tree leans 45 degrees. Or you know what I mean? It's like, well, Avon Hitchens was like that. It's like in favour of a colour, you have to have a bigger space to let it breathe. But that bigger space doesn't exist in reality.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you're trying to figure out in descriptive terms.
Yeah, my goal is to start turning out one of these every time I go and paint to warm up. And I found in my studio at Hammond, I've got these little boards, and they're all the same size. That the Jean Noël cut up 15 years ago for me. And I never used them. And there's about 30 of them.
Oh shit.
And I thought, well, you could just keep painting these, and the ones that are good, you could get a standard frame. Bang! Or it would be much easier if you had the frame for a show or that, But I'd love to have a show just of paintings like that. That'd be so exciting, this stuff. No, this stuff's great. I'm not kidding. I mean, it's just that you get excited about something, and you go for it, and then it runs its course, and suddenly, God, it's hot up here.
Oh, it feels nice. Feels very nice.
This is a great space.
It is.
When I come up here in the morning, and I go, wow, why didn't I come up here earlier? This is a great space.
It's very.
It just suddenly goes, wow, what a space.
No, you can.
These are these are all some of the last
shit up here.
You got 100 emails.
Oh, luckily I don't have work email on this thing. I don't even know. I'm not. My phone is not my connection to work at all.
I guess mine isn't, but it could be. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
I mean,
I like that. That's all.
I love that one. I love them all. I mean, I think they're all. And what's getting really weird now is I'm landing up painting the same. Like the piece in the kitchen, I realise is now that piece. I didn't realise, but it is. It's the same place. Right. I've landed myself up in a place that maybe it's 10 feet difference, but that's still. You know, it's like, oh god, this park is getting thin.
Or it's funny, you can never.
You wouldn't say there's some shitty, tiny municipal park in the Midwest of America with a swimming pool.
You can't use these.
You would just go, oh, they're just trees and some landscape. But it's amazing how, what a limit. I mean, that to me is romantic as hell. You know, you've got this fucking little pathway where people's dogs poop and fucking suburban houses, but it becomes this sort of like romantic sort of. You know, Mount Victoire or something. You know, it's like it's not. It's like Stanley Spencer does that. It's like boom, Cookham becomes wow.
Yeah. Well, it really does. Yeah.
And I love that. I think it's I think it's the best. Because you haven't got it, so you make the best of what you've got and you enhance it.
Stanley Spencer is sheer celebration.
Yeah, and that's what you try to do. It's like you try to celebrate this most shit area of the world. Christ. Anyway, these were last year's. So up here I've got some of this, most of this year, some of last year, but a lot of last year's I had to take down just because there's no room.
Sally loves it when you take in like 50 paintings. I mean, she loves that shit.
Yeah.
She was scared shitless when I had the house and I brought in like 14. I think she was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with 14 paintings? And it was just like they all fit in where I thought they would go. And I was like, alright, one there. And that's exactly where they went.
It's funny, when I just sold that recent piece, she suddenly said, oh, do you have any more work we could just have in the gallery? I thought, Jesus, Sally.
That's nice.
You know, so actually, no, I don't, because I'm making work for a show, so I don't have like 20 pieces I can just throw at you framed. It costs me nothing. I mean, just because you sold a piece.
So much work.
Yeah, I do.
You could just throw.
I mean, not to mention all these fucking sketch
throw her a couple more paintings and she'll sell them for you.
I mean, look at this. This is all the fucking park. All this stuff. All these fucking sketchbooks. I wonder the local people have to make an income. Christ, it's sick. It is. It's really. Wow, if I can do that at 60, what can I do at 70?
Yeah, right.
I know, painting blades of grass in the loft or something. Yeah, you know, it's like
you won't make it beyond the front yard.
I mean, this is insane. Oh. We should get you a drink.
Yeah, right.
We'd have to head in there and do that, but then. Well, thank you for.
Oh, it's
throwing
fun.
me.
It's fun.
No, it's great because there's no one else.
Well, you know, you'll have another opening one day.
I don't know. Somebody should be seeing this stuff.
Oh, that's a fun one. It reminds me a little bit of Sicker, just a little bit. Just got this Sicker kind of like, you know. Sicker, yeah. Really? Yeah, it's like a tiny bit. It's just got like it's that middle distance tree stuff.
I don't dislike Sicker. I mean,
Sicker was so great.
Yeah.
His colour is like he was. I mean, he was like a British colourist, like he looked like British colour.
Yeah, I know.
Like Frank Branway, he was like greens and dusty
Who's
violets.
heard of him? You know what I mean? It's like only you and I would have heard of him.
I wonder
and maybe
if you
10 other people. Maybe
other
10 other people in England. Yes, yeah. I mean, do you know the book Unquiet Landscape by Christopher Nave?
No.
It's out of print now, but. What's
that?
Why don't you fuck off, you know? Just fuck off. Christ. Sorry.
It's alright.
I'm sick and tired of just being interrupted all the time. It's like. She never does this. Shush.
No, I've never seen you do this.
She doesn't do it. I don't know what's going on. There's a whole thing going on here. I don't know.
Oh dear. You sound so sad and worried.
What do you want?
Okay.
This dog really talks.
Yeah.
Most dogs.
Yeah,
So So what is?
Right.
Okay. Do you want to pick a spot? Do you want to go for a walk? Maybe. Do you want a treat? Oh, that's it. Yeah, I can see what. Dog language. Yeah. I know. She understands a lot of sentences. Now you're doing a pony. None of those. Well, that's thank you.
Yeah.
So, like, how much do I owe you for that?
Well, that was,
Are you still at
$50 an hour.
$150? Oh, yeah, you still. That's great. No, there's not many people who charge what you're charging now.